Prometheus knew that fire meant more than fury, more than destruction, more than scorched shells and apocalyptic ruin. He knew of heart and hearth and how they soothe unimaginable hurt, knew of humanity's need for warmth, knew of the draw their bodies felt towards torch past stories told around dancing flame. Berkeley Novak Stoltz adapted. Home and hearth. I have heard these words from the time that I was a young child, but individual perceptions and choices that each person makes inevitably alters the meaning of home and hearth. This morning, I will share my perception, and I believe that this view coincides with Unitarian Universalism itself. For as long as I can remember, I have heard of the importance of making sure that I can make ends meet by having a good job that provides. Indeed, this is an important aspect of living, as the grocery store still requires payment for food. Picky that. But what is a home exactly? Sure, it is obviously four walls, keeping a roof over one's head, but it goes much deeper than that. Many of us grew up in a life filled with emotional and or physical abuse. For me, that is not a home, but rather a dwelling. This morning, my main focus will be on emotional rather than physical abuse. Psychology today defines emotional abuse as a pattern of behavior in which the perpetrator insults, humiliates, and generally instills fear in an individual in order to control them. The individual's reality may become distorted as they internalize the abuse of their own failings. As previously stated, there are many methods of emotional abuse. One such example is gaslighting. An additional article from the same publication defines it as a form of manipulation and psychological control. Victims of gaslighting are deliberately and systematically fed false information that leads them to question what they know to be true, often about themselves. They may end up doubting their own memory, their perception, and even their sanity. Over time, a gaslighter's manipulations can grow more complex and potent, making it increasingly difficult for the victim to see the truth. I heard statements such as, "I never said that. You are way too sensitive. You're making a big deal out of nothing," throughout my life. Gaslighting creates an imbalance of power between the perpetrator and the victim. One begins to feel as if their memory is wrong and that their feelings and thoughts cannot be trusted. I have had such experiences. Years later, I find that I am still healing from each one. In fact, I had to run the upcoming descriptions of events past my sister to make sure that what I was writing made sense. Years later, the thoughts of my abuser still lay in the base of much of my psyche. For the purpose of this part of the sermon, I offer a trigger warning concerning the example I am about to share. In my lifetime, I have experienced someone screaming through a bathroom door, telling me that I am obviously crazy and unstable. Take a moment to picture this here. I have locked myself in a bathroom to try to remove myself from either a emotionally or verbally or physically abusive situation. The other person's reaction is to bang on the bathroom door while screaming a mixture of speech, belittling me and causing me to feel crazy. I am then sitting all curled up on that bathroom floor, feeling like the unstable one, questioning my behaviors, motivations, memories, and actions. I am not sure of everyone's experiences concerning emotional abuse, but it is true that many times in life we run into those people, the people who lay down their beliefs, rules, and expectations. And if you do not adhere to such requirements, they become verbally abusive. They verbally debase. The perpetrators of such abuse are judgmental and manipulative. They repeatedly ignore your boundaries and dismiss your feelings and are often incredibly controlling. You are told that you are stubborn, lazy, and weak. These are different phrases I have repeatedly heard throughout my life until I arrived at the doors of Mosaic. Here, we are all worthy of love, of respect, of the support we are most deserving when we travel on our individual paths to spiritual enlightenment. Indeed, the inherent worth and dignity of every person is of the utmost importance. In my humble opinion, those people who throw out such demeaning words around, they perpetuate an environment that is best called, they do not perpetuate an environment that is best called hearth or home, or rather, as it is more often referenced, home and hearth. To me, a home and hearth is a place that offers warmth and guidance so that one can grow into the best version of themselves. And a home is not merely the location in which you reside, but rather a place in your heart that allows such growth while providing guidance, support, and love. In such an environment, we can place our baggage down and begin the arduous task of unpacking. And we all have baggage. Indeed, many of us have multiple sets of baggage. That stuff we carry around for years whilst we work through all of the you are good, not good enough crap. But what if we altered that? What if we no longer allowed such antiquated beliefs concerning the manner we take to make our way in this world? Imagine a childhood in which we are safe and loved unconditionally. That is the home and hearth that I believe in, more strongly than words can even get across. A place where you graduate from college and are not immediately shoved onto your next major decision concerning your life path. Sure, it goes without saying that to survive in this world, we need to keep that roof over our heads and groceries in the refrigerator. But why would it ever be necessary to goad someone into a path with hate and nastiness, with belittling, without a care for the damage that is inevitably being done each time you offer the idea that someone you love is not good enough? According to the International Board of Credentialing and Continuing Education Standards, emotional abuse, like physical abuse, can have long term effects on the brain and body. In fact, according to one study, severe emotional abuse can be as damaging as physical abuse and contribute to depression and low self esteem. Clinical psychologist Randy Gunther wrote, healing from those traumas cannot begin until the abuse has stopped, either by successfully challenging the current perpetrator or by leaving the relationship. It is often easier said than done. Many victims have been so brainwashed that they are too frightened to challenge that partner and do not see a way to escape. It is so difficult to walk away from emotionally abusive relationships, so much so that I find it hard to put into words. For me, it is rather like clawing my way out of industrial strength shrink wrap. Author and counselor Ashley Ertel believes that victims of emotional abuse often feel hopeless, believing that they will never feel better, which is entirely understandable. But take heart. Although the path to healing can be challenging, it's important to remember that an abuse survivor can recover and even thrive. Ms. Ertel goes on to write that the path to healing from emotional abuse may look different for each person. Often, access to a strong support system is helpful. In all cases, strong consideration should be made for receiving therapy. Having an unbiased third party can significantly help you organize your beliefs about yourself, others, and the world in order to identify which are helpful versus which no longer serve you. I cannot even begin to emphasize enough just how much therapy helps when delving into past traumas. True healing includes processing those past traumas, as well as dealing with the current physical, physiological, and emotional symptoms. Long-term mental health issues can include PTSD, eating disorders, anxiety, depression, and insomnia. Long-term physical effects can include fibromyalgia, chronic pain, and IBS. It is most important to be gentle with yourself. Triggers do occur, and that's normal. Self-compassion when experiencing such triggers is vital. I realize fully that all of this information can be quite overwhelming for both the victims of emotional abuse or members and friends here with us this morning who are hearing this piece. However, where there is darkness, there is light, for one cannot exist without the other. According to therapist Ashley Hertel, the path to healing from emotional abuse may look different. However, Mindwell Psychology NYC wrote that part of the healing process from emotional abuse is caring for yourself. When in an abusive relationship, you can quickly lose sight of what a healthy, normal lifestyle should look like. Loss of self esteem is one of the hallmark consequences of emotional abuse victims because they are led to believe that they don't matter or they aren't valuable. We take care of the people who matter to us. When you take care of your needs, you begin to develop the belief that you matter. According to Stephen Stauncey, PhD, with genuine compassion, you recognize that it takes a long period of safety to change reflexive and habituated responses. He goes on to say the evolved function of fear is not to burden us with the past, but to make us cautious in the present and future. It's not the past saber-toothed tiger that distresses, it's the one that might be around the corner. I love this quote particularly because the mantra I use most often in the midst of any panic attack is, it's only paper tigers. Our bodies are designed in such a way that a fear response is heightened to ensure that we keep ourselves safe. Years of trauma does make one feel as if there's an actual tiger about to pounce. But take heart, the road to recovery is there. In fact, Dr. Stauncey goes on to say that humans can learn to give and receive love without fear of being devalued, demeaned, or intentionally hurt. But the only way to repair a relationship damaged by chronic resentment, anger, abuse, or betrayal is through consistent compassion, respect, patience, and practice of emotion regulation skills. And for me, that is the very essence of Home and Hearth, a safe place, a soft place to land, if you will, a place from which you can gently move beyond surviving towards thriving. As previously mentioned, the amount of time to heal from emotional abuse differs from person to person. It is also important to note that healing from such abuse is in no way linear. I do keep repeating that, but it really isn't. It's not linear at all. But once a victim realizes, accepts, and acknowledges past traumas, the road to recovery begins. The former sentence is so short, yet the task is so Sisyphean, to say the least. I have and still do trudge through each experience to see each of them exactly as they are. Honestly turning over those rocks to unearth all the abuse I've experienced, all the things I felt. It is very strongly recommended to hash through such painful road with an expert in psychology, as also previously mentioned. A guide makes the world of difference. The thing is, we all know that those groceries are needed, that it takes specific fiscal means in which to keep that roof over our head. My ultimate question is why offer the idea that someone is somehow failing when they do not move forward or make the choices in life that coincide with what we believe they should be doing? I do not believe that that is providing the home and hearth I speak of this morning. So I say no more dwellings. For a mere dwelling is not a place where one can thrive, but rather a place where one simply survives. For both emotional and physical abuse, a mere dwelling does not offer a path to growth, but rather it removes the most basic belief that you are worthy of love, of respect, of compassion. And although it goes without saying, I will joyfully scream it from the rooftops until the ending of time. You are worthy of a home, a hearth that allows you to grow physically, spiritually, emotionally, that has support, compassion, love, and respect. Essentially, you are worthy of being a Mosaican. Thank you for joining me this morning as we dredge through the path from surviving to thriving. Now go forth this morning, offering that home and hearth, that love and respect so engendered in the Unitarian Universalism, indeed in Mosaic herself. Amen and blessed be.